Zach from Gravel Bike California, here in Orange County, where we're going to take one of the staples, riding up Black Star. Now, this is actually my first time riding up in the Santa Ana Mountains, but who better to guide us than Dave and Amanda from Tough Ventures? Now, it's a lot of climbing, but there's a lot of cool, interesting knickknacks along the way. So, Orange, I'm glad I'm finally doing it. Let's roll. We started on the Serrano Creek Trail, also joined by Vic the Venerable, Troy, the new senior tech editor for Cycling Tips, and Justin from Shimano, who's too fast to get a lot of frontal screen time. As we were quickly mowing down these early miles, but would our future hold this much ease? Our route covered roughly 40 miles that could easily be extended depending on how much dirt and climbing you're willing to throw in. We rode Serrano Creek to the end when the power of local knowledge kicked in, passing the highly exposed to the sun Oakley headquarters, leading to our cut-through in Portola Park, which is a strong candidate for a Petco nearby, pushing us behind some homes on what seemed like a semi-intentional pathway, veering us across the ruts, and oh! Now that I've seen the video, I better head back to fix that. As conditions improved, once reaching open space, just long enough for us to get away from it. No complaints being on the paved Aliso Creek Trail, as it was an efficient way to gain a couple hundred feet of elevation, merging after a mile and a half onto Santiago Canyon Road, holding at a steady 4% as I was starting to get a bigger lay of the land, soon passing Cook's Corner, which is a two-wheeled hangout, as this canyon held its balance of mountain bikers, with ranch life behind the trees on one side of the road and posh level real estate on the other. Hoping we wouldn't be taking a knee at this peak on the way back, ushered us into 5 more miles until we hit dirt, all of the downhill variety, and while I'm glad we timed it to catch the spring bloom, the numbers said we should be flying, as our friend Mr. Headwind said otherwise, but soon enough we had a couple of quick direction exchanges, turning right onto Silverado Canyon Road, then immediately rotating the handlebars onto Black Star Canyon, as we could put the Thomas Guide away for a while, as the number of cars indicated we were onto something, slipping past the gate into the part where our dirt adventure would begin. The first half mile is the simplest, trending downward, feeling like a false on flat, and straight enough that no bike handling skills are necessary. But all that changes turning east, leading you into the feature climb of the day. The Black Star ascent to the Divide Road runs you 7.5 miles and can be divided into 2 halves that ramps up the pressure on each. One of my basic rules riding off-road is that it's generally good news to ride alongside a waterway, as trails tend to follow these gentle slopes, as did the first 2 miles of this ascent, which moved us through at an efficient pace, so much so that maybe they put the signs up for us. But the complexion changed as the hikers continued ahead, as it was time to bully up the hill at this hairpin. It was clear the grade was not a fan of conversation, as the mood got quieter against this 8% average. Even with the road cutting into the hillside with a number of twists and turns, there's only so much engineering can do against the laws of physics, as you notice that people have been working their way through for decades and even centuries. I really appreciated how this ride snaked our way up, feeling like it was just us, far away from the urban fabric, gazing back as the road elegantly ribbons up behind us. But I noticed that despite all this green, that you're not going to find a lot of tree cover along the way, but you do come across landmarks, even questionable ones, as Justin thought we were looking at downtown LA, which really was Newport Beach, but who's checking?
Yeah, maybe that's also Portland too.
The halfway point of the climb isn't hard to miss, as your legs will get some time off for about as long as your typical commercial break. But you can't give all your body parts a rest, as there's still some bumps and ruts to negotiate, and I did my best not to make my blooper reel. But at these speeds, you may miss a detail, with the village of Puhú at the intersection of the Tongva and other native tribes off to the right, which is now a landmark commemorating the massacre that happened 200 years ago. As the grade eased up, it was time to get back into the small ring, making it harder to halt some of our GBC friends going by, with definitely more bikers than hikers in this portion. But while there's a comfortable steadiness to start, it's not smooth sailing forever, as the complexion changes, as Black Star starts to open up, throwing you back into grinding mode, which is more difficult when others pass, as the extra credit Doppler climb availed itself, finally getting broader views as fruits of gaining elevation, with a strange sight in front signaling the end, soon hitting the intersection of Main Divide Road, which originally was our intended stopping point, with historic Beeks Place serving as a good punctuation, with these 1930s buildings recently renovated and apparently now available for rent. But the question looking ahead was, do we really want to add something steeper? And Amanda was so quick to answer, I didn't have time to turn on my camera, as the words double digits don't elicit a smile, as it would have been way easier to dangle a golf ball in front of my camera rather than doing this climb, although you start to see the payoff near the top, as reaching the peak made me want to play volleyball, but I was happier kicking it here for the views, and so did the rest of us. Well, most of us, as Dave finally succumbed to peer pressure to join before our encore performance. There was no doubt high speeds in front of us, and we first had to clear some of the choppiness and the gate not featured in our ascent footage, which worked in my favor so far to keep up with these downhill debonaires, meaning with the scenery and pedal to the metal, finishing upright should earn me a gold star for Black Star. Returning past the trails to the falls, the smart play is to turn the volume down, even though this is a wide road, to pump the brakes and casual it out, as there's too many hikers to do otherwise, soon sending us out of the park, where Vic gave us his patented approval, moving us to the deja vu portion of the ride, returning back where it seemed like more poppies bloomed since the morning, soon clearing the pitchy climb thanks to wind assist, with my first close-up look at Silverado Creek as a fun home entry feature. And I was like Vic at the peak, thinking our effort for the day was done. But we had to backtrack because Amanda had more trails in mind, entering the northern side of Whiting Ranch with a rude grade to introduce us, as making our way through had nothing close to flatness, making me highlight one of the edicts of gravel. In facing these extremes of verticalness often skews your perception of distance, because it was hard to imagine we only covered a mile of dirt here, even gathering a good amount of speed, ending with some steep grades that didn't leave us an elegant transition into the neighborhood. You know you're with some true gravel lovers when they'll lead you far out of the way, even if it's for a little gravel, improvising through Borrego Canyon Overlook Park, where it looked like mountain bikers have had their way. But this is only a snap evaluation, as this was easily our shortest dirt sector of the day, soon getting us back on these mini highways, wiggling our way back to Serrano Creek, ending our gravel go-around as it was posse versus posse to close it out.
This is exactly what you want from a ride. Just so much fun exploring out there. At the same time, good riding, you want to do more. A lot of great possibilities out there, and just amazing dichotomy of these 8-lane roads, and then all of a sudden it's completely empty. Oh, love it. Thanks, Dave and Amanda. Hope you'll have us back for more. Anyways, you can support GVC, but go ahead and hit our subscribe button, or go to our shop or Patreon so we can bring you more. For the City Dirt.